right? So in plants, growth continues throughout that lifespan. So it is a major importance is that how the plant is going to be grow. We have some ideas. What is that? Meristematic tissues. The meristem or cells which is always undergoing for that cellular division is known as meristems. So there is a three different types of meristems is that apical meristem, intercalary meristems and apical meristems one, and then second one is intercalary meristem. So third one is lateral meristems. So these two are the primary meristems. These are secondary meristems, right? So we will see in that anatomy of flowering plants. So growth is continuous throughout the lifespan. Fine. So in animals, growth is only up to a certain age. However, cell divisions occurs to replace lost cells, right? Okay. So from plants, there will be the root apical meristem, there will be the shoot apical meristems. These both are continuously undergoing for their cellular division. But in animals, major cells are synthesized in a particular places. It will only up to the certain ages of the animals. So next. Right? Basically, growth is increase in mass and size. Thus, non-living objects also grow from the surface accumulations of material. So growth is not defining property of living organisms. So what is the defining properties? If this is not happening to that one, that cannot able to survive. For example, if respiration, if it is not occurring, that living things cannot able to survive. Another one thing is there must be a difference between that biotic and abiotic things. So abiotic things are going to grow from outside. I already told. Likewise, living things are going to be grown, but it is from the inside. So there is some similarities is there. So there abiotic things are also going to grow, biotic things are also going to grow. So we are not considering as a growth as a defining property of living things. In living organism, growth is from inside. Make it point. Okay. So next. So next one is reproductions. So what is the reproductions? We have some ideas. So here reproduction is nothing but creations of the progeny through that various types of reproductive methodology. Right? So what is the importance of reproduction? Reproduction is very, very essential process to sustain, to present a particular species in the earth. That organism, those are not reproducing, they will going to exit the world. Okay, so it is a production of progeny having features similar to those of parents. If the plant is reproducing that another one plants, it will be similar in characteristic features. If animal is producing the young ones, that animal is going to be similar in that of parents. So organism reproduce asexually and sexually. We know about that asexually in the sense only one parent, either the plants may be one plant parts are and the animal parts is one parent is enough. Either of that parents is enough, they will go to further reproduce. So the asexual reproductions, including the vegetative propagation is there, right? So and then various process, binary fission, budding, right? Regenerations. So various types of things are present in the asexual. So sexually, we have some ideas that the male and female parents are essential. They have to produce that male gametes and female gametes. After that, fusions of that is nothing but it is a fertilization, zygote formations, and then the process will be continued. So reproduction is a vital process for all the living things. Okay. So next. So in unicellular organism, growth and reproductions are same because they are reproduced by the cell divisions, right? So the size is going to be increased by that binary fission. I already told, for example, take an example of bacteria, amoeba, likewise organisms are going to reproduce by binary fission, right? So sometimes in that NEET they will ask that one. So the unicellular organism. What is a unicellular organism? Is nothing but only one cell which is going to do all the essential process of life. Nothing but is an organism. They are doing every process, right? Here, so cell divisions which is created two daughter cells. So these organisms growth and reproductions are synchronous, right? So next, but even some of that organism unable to reproduce. So many organisms do not reproduce. Example, mules and worker bees, infertile human couples. They are living things but unable to reproduce. So that's why we couldn't able to say it is not a perfect defining properties of living organism. So growth is not defining properties of living organism, as well as reproduction is also not defining properties of living organisms. So mule, we know about that horse and donkey are crashed and then mule is produced. So worker honeybee, we know about that only the number of chromosomes, they cannot able to involving in that fertilizations, they are not involving in the productions of the young ones. So infertile human couples, either it may be male or female, if that they are not having that reproductive properties or reproductive capabilities, they are known as infertiles, right? Okay, sterile. Okay, they are unable to reproduce, but they are surviving. They are doing every process like other organisms are doing. But that's why we cannot say that reproduction is a defining properties of living organism. So next, metabolism. I hope maximum number of people is having some awareness regarding the metabolism. What is it? Metabolism. So it's a sum total of all biochemical reactions takes place inside a living system. So we have some biochemical reactions. What is a biochemical reactions? That conversions of molecule from one state to another state. Either it may be happens like bigger molecule or complex molecule is going to be converted as a smallest molecule, or sometimes the smallest molecule is going to be converted as a complex molecule. It is always happening in the living organisms, right? It is defining features of living organism, because if an organism unable to produce, unable to performing that metabolism, what is that we call it as anabolism or catabolism, right? So this anabolism is nothing but the building process. So catabolism is a breakdowning process, right? So what will give? Catabolism will give that energy. Anabolism will give that building process of a particular components or organs or everything, right? Okay. So this is food which is undergone for the catabolic pathways. They will produce that energy, is nothing but ATP, and then cellular building blocks they will produce, that is a macromolecules. There will be the productions of heat as a energy, right? So next, so metabolic reactions can be demonstrated outside the body in cell-free systems. Okay. So what is happening? For example, if that glucose is going to converted as a pyruvate in the glycolysis pathway, it can be demonstrated in the laboratory. Isolated metabolic reactions in vitro. What is it? In vitro? In vitro means outside of the living things. So what is that opposite word for this one? In vivo. So in vivo in the sense, right, it is inside of an organism. So this is an outside. In vitro means outside of an cell or organism, right? Okay. So isolated metabolic reactions in vitro are not living things but are living reactions. So glucose is going to convert it as a various components, various byproducts in that metabolic reactions. It is also happening by the, it will also demonstrated in the laboratory. Okay, next. So organisms are made up of one or more cells, that is a cellular organizations. It is a defining features of living organisms, right? Okay, cell. What is meant by cell? Cell is nothing but structural and functional unit of life. Okay, so any kind of living organisms, right? So without cell, we cannot say it is a living organism. For example, taken a virus. So virus is not having that cellular aggregations. It cannot independently exist. So they are always depending on that other organisms to survive. So that is not considered as a living things. So living things means always possess that cells. Cells is a structural and functional unit of life. So next, consciousness, right? So it is the ability of organism to sense their environment and respond to environmental stimuli like light, water, temperature, other organisms, chemicals, pollutants. So as we put it some sugar in a table, or when we put some sugars in that ground or hall, so what will be happens? Some of that ant will come, some of the flies will come. How they are coming? They are respond to the stimuli which has been come from the chemicals or fragrance which is come from the various parts of that food or flower. That organism have the sense and they will go there. Okay, so like phototropism, we have some phototropism, water, right? So temperature. So if that water is available, that organisms are going to sense that where that water is going to presence. If the temperature is going to be high, organism are also having some a responsiveness and they are having some stimuli, right? Okay, so other organisms, for example, if the snake is coming in front of you, what will we do? You will escape from that places, right? So here chemicals. So if a dangerous chemical is present, we cannot touch that one, right? Okay, pollutants. So when very polluted areas is there, highly polluted areas, it may be water pollutions or the air pollutions, that times we are using some preventive measurements to escape this, right? Okay, next. So all organisms are aware of their surroundings. So all the organism having some awareness regarding their surroundings. So it is a defining properties of the living organism as well as that metabolism. Consciousness is also a defining properties of living organisms. So next. So finally, the reason one important thing is that human is the only organism having self-consciousness. You think about that one. That's why that evolution from starting from that prokaryotes to the eukaryotes, smallest organism to the largest organism, human having some responsibility. Humans are having that some consciousness about to protect the environment. So apart from that other organism, human beings have this well-developed knowledge and well-developed methodology to protect their young ones. Okay,